Okay, very good morning once again to everyone. Yesterday we completed the second chapter, which was very important, which includes about the purity of a matter. If it is pure, what to be done? If it is not pure, what to be done? And if it is not pure, if it is a mixture, how to separate? So all those points, small points, we discussed. Okay, right. Now we will take some examples for the physical changes and the chemical changes. Now, among the metals what we use every day, there is one metal that is iron, which we use in large quantities. Because iron is the most important and most versatile, most usable metal. Uh, so we use for small, from the small needle to the construction of the bridge buildings, we use iron. But the problem of iron is what? Iron undergoes rusting. What is rusting? Rusting is when iron reacts with the atmosphere, it converts into oxide form, iron oxide. So it's a permanent change. It's a chemical change. Okay. So rusting of iron is a chemical change, which is a permanent change. Now one more example where we have seen regarding water chemical change. Now decaying of food. Whenever we keep food for a long time, 1 day, 2 day, usually we prepare next day. If it is what remains, we will take. Okay. So, but after 2 3 days, automatically it spoils. That is called decaying of food or spoilage of food. Spoilage of food is what? It is also permanent change only. It was roti, now it is not roti at all. So roti has changed some other form, which we don't use it, which we don't consume it, which is not fit for drinking. Hmm. So decaying of food or spoilage of food is also a chemical change, which is permanent and which is irreversible, because something new is formed. In a chemical change, something new is formed. Property changes. Whatever property were there beginning, all the properties are lost. If the properties are maintained, if the properties are retained, then we can say the change is a physical change. Otherwise, if you find, if you see that there is a change in the property, something new is formed with total new property, then that is called what? Chemical change. Okay. Now burning of wood. Yesterday I gave an example. When you cut a wood piece into two pieces, it's a physical change. It's because big wood, small wood, that's all. It's wood only. But when you burn wood, burning of a wood, burning of a paper, all these are where we get a ash. That is in chemically it is called an oxide. Therefore, it is also a chemical change and it's a permanent change. Now, sawing of wood. What is sawing of wood? SAWING. Sawing means what? You might have heard in the city where you are staying, sawmill, they write. Sawmill means it is a wood, they sell the wood. So, big wood logs are broken into small pieces. Sometimes, for some reasons, for some purposes, they want wood powder, small powder. So, they make a powder also. They cut. So, all this comes under what? Sawing. So, sawmill, mill is there. There's a mill. So, cutting, pulverization, powdering, making different species for the what door purpose, window purpose, or some, there are variety of use of wood. So for all these includes what? Converting the wood into different forms. But it is a physical change only. Though we are making powder, powder maintains the property. No, we are not burning here. It was wood, now it is wood powder. Okay, so it is a physical change. Sawing of a wood is what? Physical change. Okay. Now hammering of a nail into a piece of wood. This we use where? Whenever we go for a poster or a decoratives on the wall in our house. So there are some wood blocks are there on the wall. So in that wood block we go for nailing, okay, using hammers. So what you are doing here? Are we changing the property? Neither nail is changing the property, nor the wall, nor the wood. So no one is changing the property. So they remain, only thing is we are decorating. So we are making a nail there on the wall. For the nail, we hang the photo. Okay, like that. So this is also comes under the physical change, because there is no change in the property. Okay. Now, uh, whenever you take what sulfur powder and the what carbon sulfur and the carbon disulfide, you might have heard, it is CS2. It is a CS2. So sulfur yellowish powder, it is very less soluble in the water, but it is very much soluble in the organic solvent. Here what is meant by organic solvent? Water is called as aqueous solvent. It is a watery. For water, one more word is what? Aqua. So aqueous solvent is what? Water. Except water, whether it is a benzene, petrol, acetone, alcohol, carbon disulfide, carbon tetrachloride. So there are many organic solvents are there. So in those solvents, sulfur is soluble. So some chemicals are easily soluble in the water, but not soluble in the organic solvents, and some are soluble in the organic solvents and some are insoluble in the water. It all depends upon what structure part and the property part that we are going to learn in the higher class. Okay, right. So therefore, this carbon disulfide is there. No? So this carbon disulfide is like covalent in nature. Therefore, this carbon disulfide being covalent, sulfur powder is easily soluble in the water. CS2, that is carbon disulfide. Whenever sulfur powder dissolves in the carbon disulfide, it forms homogeneous. By chance same sulfur powder, if you put in the water, it is insoluble, so it go for colloidal or the suspension. But certainly it's not a homogeneous solution. So sulfur powder in water becomes heterogeneous, whereas sulfur powder in the carbon disulfide becomes the homogeneous solution, because carbon disulfide easily soluble in the sulfur powder is easily soluble in the carbon disulfide. How sodium chloride, our common salt, is easily soluble in the water, in the same way sulfur powder also is easily soluble in the carbon disulfide, so that will form homogeneous solution. So all these are, sometimes you'll ask, so when the powder is mixed with a particular solvent, whether this will go for homogeneous or the heterogeneous. So that depends upon what, how far it is soluble, how far it is mixable, how far it is dispersing into the solvent. Okay, right. In the same way, whenever we get a small cut, small injury, okay, so that time you go to the clinic or the shop for the dressing or for the wound healing. That time they apply one important chemical, that is what, iodine tincture. You might have heard. So violet color or purple color iodine tincture bottles are available in the market also. So they are kept in the small clinics. So for small cuts when you fall, so it is used for antimicrobial, so that microbes will not grow on that our skin part. So what is iodine tincture? Iodine tincture is actually, iodine is dissolved in the alcohol, because how sulfur powder is not soluble in the water, in the same way iodine also is not soluble in the water. It is made to dissolve in the alcohol, ethyl alcohol. So that solution is there, no? Iodine and the ethanol, that solution is called as what? Iodine tincture. It is highly antiseptic in nature because it contains alcohol and iodine, both are having medicinal property. That's why it is recommended in the hospitals for the dressing purpose or for the repair of the wounds, all those cuts, minor cuts, okay, not for the major cuts. Major cuts, some other chemicals are there. So for minor cuts, we use iodine tincture as a medicine. So iodine tincture means what? It is iodine dissolved in alcohol, which has got antiseptic property, and this also is an example for what? Homogeneous solution. Okay, right. Now, in the colloidal, we have learned many types: solid in the liquid, solid in the gas, solid in the solid, liquid in the liquid, liquid in the solid, liquid in the gas, okay, gas in the solid, gas in the liquid. So totally we have learned some 8 types of colloidals in our previous session. So kindly go through this entire chapter, especially the chart, because a variety of colloidals are there. So sometimes you are asked to write down a particular type of a colloidal. For example, emulsion. Emulsion belongs to what type of colloidal? So emulsion belongs to liquid in the liquid. When two liquids are dissolved, we get a emulsion. So best example is distemper, paint, okay, all those. There are some liquid dyes. So all those are available in the market. So all those are what? All those are examples for what? Examples for what? What I was saying about the colloidals. Okay. So especially liquid in the liquid, that is what? Emulsion. In the same way, there is one more example that is called sol. Sol is short form of a solution. Sol is short form of a solution. What is sol here? Sol is solid plus liquid combination. Okay, solid plus liquid combination. So please recall in the colloidal chapter there are two words. One is dispersed water phase and dispersion medium. So these two words are equivalent word for the solute and the solvent. So what is solute? Solute is the one which is in the minor quantity or the less quantity, and the solvent is what? The one which is in the major quantity or the in the more quantity, in the larger. Okay, so that is what solute plus the solvent. When a solute plus solvent are mixed, that becomes the solution. That becomes the solution. Okay, right. So solute minor quantity, solvent major quantity, together solution. In the same way, for colloidal, what I said, let us not use the word solute and the solvent, because the most better word for the colloidals we are using is what? Dispersed phase and dispersion medium. What is dispersed phase? It is the one which is dissolving partially. That is like a solute. Okay. So like a solute. So here dispersed phase means what? It is a solute. Dispersion medium is what? Some sound is coming. Pritham Singh. Pritham, mute yourself. Pritham. So please mute yourself. I am getting a disturbance. I told whenever class starts, please kindly mute yourself and listen to the instruction what I am imparting. Okay. So for the solute, we use the word dispersed phase, and for the solvent, we use the word dispersion medium, and for the solution, we use the word colloidal solution. So these small changes we have made for the water solution and the water. Okay, right. So what is gel? Gel is also a colloidal. Just now I told sol. What is sol? Sol is the combination of solid and the liquid, whereas gel is what? Gel is the combination of liquid and the solid. Here liquid is the solute and solid is the solvent, or liquid is the dispersed phase and solid is the dispersion medium. Okay, so if that combination is there, whatever colloidal is formed, that is called what? Gel. Okay, right. Now, uh, air. Air is an example. Okay, so whether it is example for element, compound, or mixture. So air, if you see from this class, it is a mixture of nitrogen, oxygen, dust particles, carbon dioxide, and some other in the minor quantity. Okay, so that means air is an example for mixture, not element, not a compound. So nitrogen separate, oxygen separate, gold, silver, all those are examples for elements, because elements are substances which are made up of what? Only one kind of atoms, that we learnt in the previous interactions. Okay, so air is an example for mixture. That too, what are mixture? It's a homogeneous mixture. Okay, so all the components mix well. All the components mix well in the that air. Therefore, air is what? Air is an example for homogeneous solution. Okay, right. Now ice. What about ice? When water converts into ice, first of all, what is water? The water what we are drinking contains normal water. Okay, so plus it also contains some dissolved minerals. There are some sodium compounds, there are some calcium compounds. Okay, they are called minerals. Those minerals are brought by river, that flowing water. Okay, so water is a homogeneous solution, whether it is a water or whether it is if you purify water, so if you remove all the minerals, so all the other whatever content is there, everything is there. So only if water is H2O is there. For example, in the case of water vapor, so when you boil water vapor, water becomes water vapor, leaving behind all the contents in the container only. Only water becomes water vapor. So water vapor is only H2O. So it is made up of only one kind of particle, that is one kind of water molecule. Therefore, water vapor is an example for a compound, pure form of matter, substance. Whereas the drinking water, so where we have many minerals, if that water we are converting into ice, no, so that is even ice also homogeneous water solution. So air, ice, all these are examples for what? Homogeneous solutions. So these are somewhat important part we have to understand among the revision part. Okay. Now what about the blood part, gum part, honey part? Hmm? So blood, honey, gum, all these are example for mixtures. They are heterogeneous mixture. Okay, but huh, heterogeneous mixture, but blood comes under the colloidal because particles are suspended in the blood, where we can separate those particles using the centrifugation method. They do in the pathology department. Okay, so blood is heterogeneous because in the heterogeneous there are two types. Once again, one is colloidal, other one is suspension, but blood comes under the colloidal, and gum also colloidal, honey also colloidal. Okay, so all these are examples for heterogeneous colloidal, whereas seawater seawater also mixture. Okay, so seawater also mixture, but what seawater we get, it contains magnesium, it contains sodium, it contains calcium. Okay, so all those are, if you don't see properly the components, then you call it as a suspension. If only sodium chloride and water is there, that becomes homogeneous. So depend upon the sample. Okay, first you take the sample, so you see how it looks. Okay, so homogeneous solution water, so components are, they mix well. So they mix well. So when they mix well,
Sir,
so
sir, water and sand is suspension, na sir?
definitely. Water and sand is a, because they don't mix well. Where they don't mix well, suspension, partial mixing, colloidal, uniform mixing, true solution. So very clear. We have understood difference between true solution, colloidal, and the suspension. So I was
Sir,
Sir,
when we will get
powder.
wound, sir, that time blood platelet will come out, sir. That is heterogeneous or homogeneous, sir.
it is colloidal, Baba. Blood is a colloidal. We separate it. I am
We
not
can
going.
separate it from that also, sir. In
Huh?
that,
They are doing, no? They'll, they
which
they
process?
they are checking your blood sample. They will tell the complete report that how much
No,
blood.
sir. It will be solid, na, sir.
So what? It is dissolved. See, after separation, why you tell like this? That means when you separate sodium chloride from seawater, can we say sodium chloride is heterogeneous? No. In seawater, in what form they are there? That is important. I am separating iron from the blood also. So that means when I get separate the iron is solid. So blood is a solid. Not like that. Not like, so. Iron is there in the blood in the hemoglobin form, which is in the colloidal form. Afterwards, we separate. It is colloidal. So colloidal contains some many parts. No, it is solid is there, liquid is there, many are there inside. So after separation, let's not name it. How original form that you think. Okay, not after separation. Once you separate, then depend upon the state, liquid, solid, gas. So we don't worry after separation. We are discussing what are the types of mixture. So whether it is a colloidal or suspension or homogeneous. We are not discussing separate. After separation, what happens? No. Okay, right. So I was telling about what? Blood, gum, and honey. They're all colloidals, whereas seawater, depend upon the type of the seawater, we call it as a either homogeneous or heterogeneous. Okay. Now, uh, total elements, what we learned, elements and compounds. I said these are the only two examples for what? Substance, because the meaning of substance is what? Pure form of matter. And in the element, it is only one type of atoms, and in the compound, it is only one type of molecule, because both elements and the compounds contain only one type of particles, one type of small units. Therefore, elements and the compounds, according to science, scientifically, they are called as pure form of matter, that is substance. All others are mixtures. And in the element, again we have classified into metals, non-metals, and the metalloids. Metals are more in number. Okay, so iron is there, cobalt, nickel, gold, silver, aluminum, sodium, potassium, zinc, mercury. So many metals are examples of metals are nearly out of 90 plus, 70 plus only metals only. So after the metals, next comes non-metals. Carbon is there. Okay, bromine is there. Hmm? So sulfur is there, nitrogen is there, oxygen is there. So all those comes under the non-metals. and there are a few elements where they are called as metalloids. They show both characters. Because they show both characters, that property we are making use in the semiconductor technology, what we are learning in the higher class under the electronics chapter. Okay, right. So examples for metalloids are what? Boron is there, germanium is there, silicon is there. So all these are metalloids where we make use in the semiconductor technology. Now time being, let us not go to the semiconductor part of the physics part of the electronic part of the area. Okay, right. So we have understood elements are classified into metals, non-metals and the metalloids. So metals, many examples, non-metals next place, metalloids last place. Okay, so boron is a beautiful metalloid, carbon is a non-metal, sulfur is a non-metal, nitrogen non-metal, silicon metalloid, germanium metalloid, sodium metal, iron metal and so on. So just go through the textbook part where he has given many examples for elements. In that again metals, non-metals and the metalloids. Okay, then
Sir, is sugar and salt suspension or anything, sir?
yeah,
Sir, mixture of sugar and salt, sir.
sugar and salt both are solids, so they mix. It is heterogeneous mixture, totally
Sir,
suspension, heterogeneous.
colloidal.
It is heterogeneous. Okay,
Sir,
right.
milk is
Sir,
a colloidal
colloidal
suspension.
solution.
Milk is a colloidal, not a suspension, I told. So blood, gum, honey, milk, all these comes under the colloidals, because in the milk cream particles are suspended. You can easily separate the cream from the milk by the centrifugation. This how we learnt in the
Sir,
separation
milk is an
techniques.
emulsion, sir.
Huh?
Sir, tea, sir.
Milk is an emulsion. Is an emulsion.
Milk is a colloidal.
Emulsion, sir.
In that separate, further separation is emulsion. Okay. But main example is milk comes under the colloidal.
Sir,
Okay.
sugar and salt.
Time being hold. Time being hold. Please hold. Let me complete all. So last 5 minutes I am keeping for yourself. Okay. Right. Because there are some areas where you have to cover everything. So after coverage, you can ask. Right. Now one more example is there. So I was telling about the classification of elements into metals, non-metals and the metalloids. And again, elements are classified further into what? Solid element, liquid element and the gaseous element. On the basis of what? On the basis of the states of matter. Okay. So on the basis of chemical composition, on the basis of property, we have classified element as metal, non-metal and the metalloid. Now on the basis of what? States of matter. They are classified as solid elements, liquid elements and the gaseous elements. For example, sodium is a solid element, iron is a solid element, sulfur is a solid element. So here only on the basis of what? Physical state, states of matter we are classifying. Okay. So whichever is solid, that is comes under solid element. Now liquid element, there are two liquid elements on the in chemistry. One is what? One is mercury and the other one is bromine. So mercury comes under the metal and the bromine comes under the non-metal. That means there are only two liquid elements. One is liquid metal mercury, liquid non-metal bromine. Only two. Okay, right. So gas are many. Oxygen is there, nitrogen is there. Okay, chlorine is there, helium, neon, argon, oxygen, hydrogen. So all these are examples for what? Elements which are in the gaseous state. Okay, right. Now we also learnt under the colloidal that on small area alloys. What are alloys? Alloys are a homogeneous mixture of metals and metals or metals with non-metals. So they mix well. In the industry, what they do? So they mix different metals and a small amount of non-metal. Why they mix? Because when they mix, they show different property. One best example is what you see. This one what? Iron. So iron we use every day in our day-to-day life. Okay, but that iron, its weakness is, its problem is what? Its problem is it undergoes rusting. So when you don't take care properly iron, so whether it is iron in the cot, iron table, iron utensils, so all those if you don't take care properly, so they develop some kind of a oxide layer, that is called as what? Rusting or corrosion. Okay, so corrosion of iron, rusting of iron is example for corrosion. So now if iron undergoes rusting, corrosion, then day by day, week by week, year by year, so iron is lost, property is lost. So we are losing iron. Though we manufacture iron in tons together, but if you don't take care property, so iron is under loss. So when the iron we are simply losing, so that means it is a with a lot of effort you have taken out the iron from the earth crust by the metallurgy process. If that is undergoing rusting wastage, then no use. Therefore, let us protect the iron from rusting. Iron from rusting. So for this we go for painting. For this we go for the oiling. For this we go for the electroplating or galvanization. So all those techniques we are learning in the higher class. So iron has to be protected. Okay. Now
Sir, mercury will react with the gold, sir. That reaction is what is its name, sir?
it is a chemical reaction, amalgamation. It is called what? Amalgamation. Any metal with mercury is called as amalgamation. Any mercury with any metal with mercury is called as what? Amalgamation. Okay. So I was telling about the what? Alloys. So stainless steel is an alloy, bronze is an alloy, graphite is an alloy. Okay. So brass is an alloy, duralumin, solder. Okay. So all these are mixtures of metals. So to enhance the property, iron alone will undergo rusting. But when iron is converted into stainless steel will not undergo rusting. You keep water for days together, years together, you throw in the atmosphere stainless steel, it will not undergo rusting. It is rust proof. So to get the some desired quality, to get some desired property, so we are converting all these. So iron is converted to stainless steel just to protect the iron from rusting. So that is what called alloying process. So alloys are what? Alloys are mixture of metals or metals with non-metals just to get this desired property. Okay, stainless steel once again, bronze, wait, brass, duralumin, magnesium, solder. So many examples are there for the alloys where we have many interesting properties of the alloys in our day-to-day life. Okay, right. So now let us come to separation techniques now. Whenever I want to separate common salt from seawater, I think best method is evaporation. If I want to separate water from the seawater, not salt. If you want salt from seawater, evaporation. Now I want water, not the salt. If I keep
Filtration, sir.
no,
Filtration.
never. Salt is easily soluble in the water. Even after filtration, everything will come down. Salt water comes down. So
Sir, fractional
distillation. So we go for
sir,
what?
distillation.
Distillation, because whenever we keep seawater for evaporation, that time water evaporates. That now when our aim is to separate the sodium chloride or the common salt, we don't worry about the water, we leave it. But now our worry is what? To collect water. So that time we should not allow the water vapor to escape. So we have to make some arrangement that water vapor is cooled somewhere. When the water vapor is cooled during evaporation, automatically water vapor becomes water and we can separate the water from the sea water. So to get the water, distillation. To get the salt, evaporation. So depend upon the type of the water component you want, I told you adopt a suitable method. So okay, now we get sodium chloride from the seawater by the method evaporation. After getting, will you get in the pure condition? Again, that depends upon what nature of seawater. If seawater contains only sodium chloride, then after the evaporation, whatever remains is sodium chloride. But normally, seawater contains many other salts. Therefore, after the evaporation, whatever impure salt we get, that is taken to the industry. There, once again, further process is there. After the further process, at last only sodium chloride, that is common salt, is separated. That is packed in the packets and sold in the market. So how to know that after various methods, I got sodium chloride which is pure? If still small amount of impurity, how to know that I got 100% pure? There are some techniques. They are called what? Melting point and the boiling point. Melting point and the boiling points are what? Two important characteristic properties. From those melting point and the boiling point, you will come to know that whether after the separation, whether it is a liquid or a solid. So we go for the melting point or the boiling point. If exactly we get it, then it is a pure. For example, alcohol and the water. mixture is there. So I will separate water. I will separate water by the distillation method. Agreed. So after getting the water from the distillation process, whether water I got is pure or not, now that I have to go to the one more area where I have to check its boiling point. So I will keep for boiling point and using thermometer, all those techniques. When water starts boiling, note down the temperature. Okay. So if the mercury mark on the scale, temperature scale, the thermometer, if it is 100 degrees centigrade, then it is pure water. If it is not 100, maybe 98, 99, or 101, 102, above 100, below 100, if you get such reading, then water contains some impurities. Again, you have to go for further purification. So you have to keep repeating stepwise, first method, second, repeated methods will give you at last a sample, and if that sample is pure or not, that will come to know only from the melting point or the boiling point. If it is a solid, we go for the melting point, and if it is a liquid, we go for the boiling point. So boiling points and the melting points are what? They are the characteristic properties of solids and the liquids which will test the purity. Okay, that is important. Okay, right. Now I will give a sample. Okay, so how will you separate the sample? Please think. So two components are there. Two components are there. So they mix well. They mix well. When the two components they mix well, whether they form homogeneous or heterogeneous, certainly homogeneous, because they mix well. No, sodium chloride in water mix well. Kerosene in petrol mix well. So they are homogeneous. If water and the kerosene is there, they don't mix well. That forms the heterogeneous. Okay, depend upon the mixing, uniform mixing, homogeneous, uniform mixing, heterogeneous. That we can say easily. Okay, and we can separate the water and alcohol. What I told method, distillation. Just now one of our friends said, and methyl alcohol and the acetone also distillation. Acetone water distillation. So whenever we have two miscible liquids, the two liquids are miscible, that time we go for the distillation method. One small example I will give. With me, I am having two liquids. In general, two what, substances are there, A and B. I am speaking in general, A and B. When A and B have reacted, I got C. I got C. Okay. And that C has got totally different property than A and B. What is C here? Whether C is element.
Compound.
Exactly.
Compound, sir.
Who said? Who said? May I know the
Nikhil,
name?
sir.
Nikhil
Nikhil.
Sunnad. Yes, exactly. So when A and B reacted, got C, C has got totally changed the property, then that is a compound. Whereas, can we expect the property of A and the property of B in the C? No. Totally change the property. Now, can we further separate the C component? C formed? Yes, we can separate by chemical method. This is a compound. No, we can separate into constituent elements. But can we separate the A and the B? Because A and
No,
B
sir.
are reacting their elements. So elements are what? They are made up of only same kind of atoms. So A and B, it is the last stage for them. Okay, it is the last stage for them. Therefore, further separation is not possible. Further
Sir, there are bosons and quarks, sir.
ozone,
Boson and quarks, sir.
that we learn in the atmosphere. That is the atmosphere part. Okay, so there are some different particles are there in the atmosphere. Okay, so quarks are there. So that is higher level. That is comes under the particle physics. Now timing will not go to that area. Proton area,
Okay,
electron area, quarks area, mesons. Okay, so that area will now timing will keep it aside. Okay, so A and B further division is not possible, whereas C is possible. Okay, right. So in the same way, one more example I can quote. uh, General equation I am writing. 2 times of P is reacting with 1 time of Q to give the what? P2 Q, P2Q for what? Compound. So P2Q also compound, because it is a compound, it has reacted. So it is also something new is formed, change the property. So whether it is a P or a Q, whether it is X or Y, after the reaction they lose the property. What I am saying here, in the physical change, properties are retained, and in the chemical change, properties are maintained. Elements and compounds In the element, we cannot divide further. Compound, we can separate into constituent elements by what? By the chemical process, because it's in the compound, definite compound is there, no? If simply they are mixed, then we will go by the physical method. So when they are perfectly mixed, definite composition is there, constant composition is there, that time we will go for special techniques known as what? Chemical methods. So compounds can be separated by special methods known as the chemical methods, whereas the mixtures can be separated by the physical method. Elements, no separation. Already they are in the last stage. So further separation for the element is not there. Okay. So all these we discussed. Okay. So I think I have covered homogeneous and I have covered the heterogeneous. And whenever what colloidal I covered. So whenever we take acid, if that acid, for example, in the laboratory we see hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid. When that acid reacts with the metal, so expected product is what? Hydrogen gas. So acid will give two important property. What is one property? Whenever acid reacts with metal, we get a hydrogen gas. And whenever acid reacts with the carbonates, for example, baking soda or the washing soda, so baking soda is available in the our house, kitchen. In the kitchen for important kitchen purposes, we use a baking soda.
Sir, what is
So
syllabus for periodic table, sir?
wait, please wait. Okay. So whenever acid reacts with the carbonate, we get carbon dioxide gas. Whenever acid reacts with the metal, we get the hydrogen gas. So in this way, so now one small thought for our thinking. So I will give you an example. So kindly let us try whether can you do this what activity or not. It's a small activity. So just you can think on this. So what is the activity here? I have brought one activity for you. So the activity is, okay, you are given mixture which contains 1, 2, 3, 4 components. One is common salt, other one is sulfur powder, other one is sand, and the fourth one is iron filings. Iron filings is what? Iron powder. So when these 4 components are there, how will you separate? First and the foremost is what? We go for addition of carbon disulfide, because sulfur powder is soluble only in the carbon disulfide. That I told in the beginning only. So by adding carbon disulfide, only sulfur dissolves. So then go for filtration. What happens? Sulfur along with carbon disulfide separates at the bottom as a filtrate. On the top, what we get? On the top, we get a common salt, sand, and iron filings. Then using the magnet, you can separate the iron filings, because magnet attracts the iron, or iron is attracted by the magnet. So that is called magnetic separation. Now we are left with what? Common salt and sand, and these two are dissolved in the water. Sand remains insoluble, salt dissolves. Again go for filtration. So common salt with water comes at the bottom. Okay, then sand on the filter paper, sand separates. Now we are left with what? 2 filtrates. One is sulfur powder in the carbon disulfide and sodium chloride in the water. Both we keep separately for evaporation. So when the solvent evaporates, we get what? So we get common salt from the water and the sulfur powder from the carbon disulfide. So using evaporation, using filtration, using magnetic separation. So using variety of methods. Sometimes we go for only one method, sometimes 2 methods, sometimes many methods, depend upon the type of the mixture. So what type of mixture we have? What is the nature of the components? So all these we make some homework. So after making homework theory part, so automatically we adopt a suitable method, so that we go for techniques. So my Webex is saying that in 2 minutes
Sir.
it is going to wind up. So last 2 minutes I am keeping for interaction. So any doubts for any regarding today's session, most welcome.
Sir,
Sir,
syllabus
baking
for
soda is
52, sir.
allotrope, sir.
Syllabus is it will be posted in the respective group. Okay, next.
Sir, baking soda is an allotrope.
What allotrope? What is allotrope?
Sir,
Allotrope is different. Allotrope is different.
sir,
Baking soda.
sodium bicarbonate is there, na sir? That's why.
Sodium bicarbonate is a baking soda. It is not allotrope.
Sir,
Allotrope is different.
sodium bicarbonate is compound, sir.
Definitely, Baba. Definitely compound.
Yes.
Definitely compound.
Sir, can alloys be classified as elements?
No. Alloys are mixture of elements. So it is a mixture. That is homogeneous mixture. They mix well. Then
Sugarcane juice is a colloid or suspension.
which one?
Sugarcane juice, sir.
Which once again, please. I am not clear. Which juice?
Sugarcane, sir.
Sugarcane juice is a mixture, heterogeneous. Because we have the sugar, we have the sugar cane, all those water is there, minerals are there. So definitely it is a
Suspensions.
Sir, if you put ice on that,
price. What?
yes, in sugarcane juice, if you put ice.
That is separate. I am saying pure sugarcane juice, not the. I will put ice, I will put lemon, I will put elaichi. That is separate. That goes with individual taste. So I am worrying about the main part. Sugarcane juice is a heterogeneous mixture. Next. Only in 1 minute. Webex is going to wind up. Only 1 minute.
Sir, Coca-Cola is what, sir? Compounder or anything, sir?
It is mixture, Baba. It contains sugar, it contains color, it contains water, minerals. Many are there in that. All subtly are homogeneous mixture.
Sir, which gas is used as a cooling agent?
Cooling agent. Many are there. We can use nitrogen. We can use ammonia.
Sir, liquid
We can
nitrogen.
use liquid nitrogen. We can use
But
liquid oxygen.
generally I'm asking.
Generally, we can use ammonia. So ammonia is best example, or carbon dioxide. Okay. So they are the best cooling agents. There are some
Yes,
freons are there. We learn in the higher class. Freons are the
Okay.
chlorofluorocarbons are there. So in the
Yes.
AC, in the cooling systems we use.
But they are refrigerants, sir.
The
Chlorofluorocarbons.
what is the refrigerant, sir? They are coolant, no? Your question is
Yes,
about
sir.
coolant, cooling agent, whether it is in the AC, whether it is in the refrigerator, whether it is in the dairy, in the room.
Oh,
So
yes.
all are giving
Yes, sir.
cooling effect. Okay. Generally, they
Yes,
are called
sir.
what cooling agents. Okay.
Yes.
It is, I think, in a few seconds.
Sir, which property mercury is having that it will destroy gold?
It will destroy.
It will means it will damage gold.
See, mercury is a liquid metal. So mercury will react immediately with the gold. So when the gold reacts with the metal, it is not destruction. Gold has lost the property. It is the mercury auric forms or the amalgamation forms. So because of the combination of the gold with the mercury, so here we say it as what? Changing the property. So gold loses the property. That is taken as what? Destruction of the gold property. This the goldsmith will do. They take a pure sample and he will go. His separate lab is there in the inside. That is not shown to the public. So there you will go and check whether it is a pure gold or impure gold. Any mercury is there or copper is there or silver is there. So all those you will do. Okay, thank you very much. So it is now over. Thank you one and all.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye.